Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to the Black Belt Leadership Podcast, where each week I'm giving you tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you become a better version of who you are and what you do as you discover, develop, and deploy your own Black Belt leader within. You know, it's hard to believe we're already 2 weeks into the new year, and 2024, at least for me, is starting out to be one of the busiest years I've ever had in terms of travel and opportunity. Now, I'm hopeful that you too are off to a fantastic start to this new year. And my hope and my prayer for you is that 2024 brings you much, much more of whatever it is that you're looking for. Whatever success looks like to you, I hope you experience more of that this year. Now, one of the traditions we often see at the start of the year is the making of these so-called New Year's resolutions. You know, we've probably all made them at some point or another. We get to January 31st and we start thinking, what do I want to do better next year? What do I want to stop doing next year? What is a goal or objective I'd love to have? You know, that resolution is a promise that we make to ourselves that we're going to stop a bad habit, maybe start a new habit, maybe improve ourselves in some way. We're going to do something to say, do, or become more in 2024. Now, interestingly enough, as you look at this tradition of New Year's resolutions, we've been doing it in the Western world for 100 years or so. But if you go back to the Eastern world and you look at its origins, they've been making resolutions for centuries. In ancient Babylonian culture, as an example, the Akitu festival symbolized the start of the new year for the Babylonians. Now, during this celebration, the citizens of Babylon would make promises to the gods in hopes of gaining their favor and their approval at the start of the new year. It was also the appointed time that they would return borrowed items from other citizens. By making promises to the gods, they hoped to gain their favor and their blessing in the new year. Now, the Chinese New Year, which is still celebrated by millions of people, is linked to the lunisolar Chinese calendar. It's a time of celebration. It's a time of rededication to improving oneself. It's about enjoying a specific cuisine, 7 interesting foods that are said to bring a person good luck in the new year. Families gather together for the Nian Yi Fan, which is a very special dinner where they burn incense to remember and pay tribute to their ancestors. And it's during this special dinner that older family members, the parents and the grandparents, will give money to their children in a little red envelope as a symbol of good luck and fortune in the new year. Now, in the land of Israel, New Year occurs in late summer or early autumn. It's commemorated by the celebration of Rosh Hashanah, where the Jewish people pray. They recommit themselves to Yahweh. They eat symbolic food such as loaves dipped in honey and pomegranates to remind them of the many commandments in the Torah they must follow. And they also blow the traditional shofar, the ram's horn. But the current iteration of New Year's that we see today has a link and a tie to making New Year's resolutions. Millions of people around the world, January 1st, as the ball drops in New York City and we celebrate here in the United States, many people make resolutions as they celebrate this is a new year. It's an annual tradition, but along the way, it's one that has lost its meaning. In ancient times, if we go back and look at the cultures that have practiced these so-called New Year's resolutions, some for centuries, the start of the new year was a time of recommitment, rededication, and renewal. It was a time of reflection, and it was a time of introspection. Ancient people groups would pledge to the gods that they would do certain things or not do certain things to gain their favor and approval. They wanted the gods' protection and blessings. And to them, a resolution was this. It was a firm commitment to do or not do something. And that commitment, that dedication, that decision actually meant something. If we look at the people in ancient times and they made those commitments, they made those resolutions, they were resolute. They were fully determined to accomplish whatever it was that they had pledged to do. Now, fast forward to today, and what do we see? We see most of the Western world making resolutions, but it's really not a resolution in the sense of it's something we are committed to do no matter what. It's more of an expression of hopes and wishes. It's no longer a genuine pledge that we say to ourselves or we say to our God that we want to alter, change, improve, learn, adapt, expand, or grow in some way. So, what I like to call so-called resolutions today are often uttered on December 31st or January 1st without a lot of conscious thought. It's nothing more than an expression of what we would like to see happen. However, and I say, however, we are not really making a dedicated commitment to do what is required to bring about that change in our lives. Now, you may say, John, why in the world would you say that? I made a commitment and I'm dedicated to seeing it get through. Well, if that's you, fantastic. But I'm here to tell you, you're in the minority. In fact, Fisher College of Business did a study in February of 2023, and it validated much of what I've shared with you up to this point. Let me give you the results of this study. By the end of the first week of January in any given year, 23% of people who made a New Year's resolution had already given up on that goal. In the first week of the new year, 1 in 4 people threw up their hands and said, I quit. Now, by February 1st, the number of quitters had risen to 43%. That's roughly 1 in 2 that say by the end of February, I quit, I give up, I can't do this. And they go back to the same old life they've always lived and wonder why nothing changed. Now, most people say they want to change, but very few people are willing to go through the difficult process of actually changing. That's why we see half of all people roughly quit 1 month into the new year and give up on losing weight, having better relationships, making a better career, whatever it may be. They say it's too hard, I can't do it, and they simply go back to the way things always were. Now, interestingly, if we go back to this Fisher study, how many people actually finish what they start on January 1st? This Fisher study found that only 9% of Americans will see their resolution through to completion. That's 1 in 10, actually less than 1 in 10 people. Now, if you want to take those odds to the casino, you're probably going to lose a lot of money. But it's no wonder that 95% of all of us live average, mediocre, lackluster lives. We can't even follow through with a simple commitment to lose 10 pounds, to go to bed an hour earlier, to exercise for 20 minutes 3 days a week, to eat a healthy diet, to drink more water, or to read 20 minutes a day. And if we can't commit to do the simple, easy things, how in the world are we going to change our lives for the better with the more difficult things that we want to do so that we can say, do, and become more? So as we're looking at where we are going into this new year, let me ask a question, and it's the question that I think is very, very important. Did you quit yet? Have you quit doing what you started or said you were going to start doing or stop doing on January 1st? We are at the time of this recording, January 11th, 2024. Have you quit yet? How do you answer that question? And more importantly, how you answer that question says a lot about you. Now, I believe that most of us want a better life for ourselves. We want to have a thinner waistline, a fatter wallet, more rewarding relationships, and a more fulfilling career. We want to lead ourselves well. We want to make good choices, and we want to experience more success in life. The problem isn't with our wanting. The problem is with our doing. Now, if you do the same things you've always done, you're going to get more of what you're currently getting in life. So if you keep eating junk food and you don't exercise regularly, guess what? You're going to pack on the pounds. If you don't manage your spending, you're going to end up with an empty wallet and you're going to be in debt up to your eyeballs. If you continually come home stressed out because you can't manage your life and you take it out on your family, you're eventually going to be coming home to an empty house. It's not for the lack of wanting, it's for the lack of resolve to get what you want. Now, imagine you're on the beach. I mean, pick the beach anywhere in the world. Imagine you're on the beach and a bottle washes up. Inside that bottle is a pirate's map with very clear directions to where Blackbeard, say that name, Blackbeard the pirate buried a chest of gold doubloons. Now, you get all excited and you start making plans to spend the money now that you're rich. You've got the map, you know where the treasure is buried. All you've got to do is go get it. And so you begin to envision how your life is going to change for the better because all of a sudden you're now an instant millionaire. But you never take the time to follow the directions on the map and go dig up the buried treasure. That's what I'm talking about with a lack of resolve. Think about that. You find a treasure map that could take you to a fortune in gold. Your life could be forever changed, but you lack the resolve to simply do what is required to make that happen. You know, there's an old proverb that says, he who has good intentions but fails to act on them will never accomplish anything. You know, when I think about this willingness to follow through, I think about the former president of Angola, Eduardo dos Santos, the man who brought independence to his country after years and years of civil war. I love what he says about resolutions. He says, there is no magic wand that can resolve our problems. The solution rests with our work and discipline. Now, think about what he just said. There is no magic formula to getting things to change for the better in your life. The solution rests with your work, doing what is required and having the discipline to do it. Remember that successful people do daily what unsuccessful people do sometimes or not at all. So that begs the question, are you resolved to see things change for the better in your life, or are you simply content to go through the motions so you can at least say you tried? Now, the first answer, being resolved, that leads to more success in your life. But the latter answer, simply going through the motions, leads to a life of excuses and a life of living far below your potential. Now, a resolution is a commitment to succeed at something in some way. And to see that resolution come to pass, it's going to require something from you for that to happen. That something is commitment, dedication, and tenacity. Commitment says, I am resolved. When Alexander the Great landed on the shores of Persia, he burned the boats that transported his men across the sea from Greece. This signified to his men, there is no going back. The only way is forward. This is what it means to be committed. Now, my grandfather used to remind me that a chicken contributes to breakfast, but a pig is committed. And if you and I want to see change in our lives, we have to be committed. We've got to burn the boats. There can't be any willingness to go back to the way things were before if we're going to be committed. Now, dedication is the second part of seeing this resolution through to completion. And dedication says, I will do daily what is required to keep me moving forward towards my destiny. Olympic champion Jesse Owens said it well. We all have dreams, but in order to make those dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort. So dedication is daily paying the price to move forward from where we are to where we want to be. Football great Vince Lombardi reminded his players often, the price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we will have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand. So dedication is applying your best self to achieving the goals you've set for your life and seeing those resolutions actually come to pass. Now, tenacity, this third element in seeing your resolutions actually get to the finish line, is having a don't quit attitude. Tenacious people don't stop trying until they accomplish their goals. Andy Dunn, an incredible entrepreneur who is the founder of Bonobos, said this: tenacity is not about avoiding being overwhelmed, but being indomitable in the face of overwhelming odds of your venture's failure. What was he saying? Think of Hannibal marching his troops, his army, and a herd of elephants over the Alps to surprise the Roman army waiting for him in Italy. That's what you call tenacity, that don't quit attitude. I'm going to get over the mountain and I'm going to get to the other side and I'm going to accomplish my goals and dreams and objectives. What are those three things? Commitment, dedication, tenacity. Now, if you're still working on your New Year's resolution, good for you. Don't quit. Black belt leaders live their lives in the relentless pursuit of black belt excellence. So let that person be you. But if you find yourself struggling a week or two into the new year, or you've already given up on this year's goals and dreams and aspirations for your life, let me leave you with a quote that's been attributed to C.S. Lewis that should inspire you to get back in the game. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Hey, I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.